The Golden Age, as predicted in the Puranas. In this presentation, I'll be focusing mainly on prophecies within the Bhagavad Purana, or Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami about 5,000 years ago, but also the Pratisagapava section of the Bhavishya Purana, spoken by Sutta Goswami, but I'll quote from other Puranas as well. Prophecies were quite common amongst advanced sadhus of ancient India. One reason for that is that the Vedic understanding of time isn't linear, but circular. When you understand that time is actually repetitive like nature, it makes the future more accessible. However, as individuals, we have some degree of independence at any moment. That can domino effect to reach national and international levels. So, astrology aside, many ancient Vedic prophecies generally don't include specific dates of when they will happen, not the scriptures anyway. The extent and detailed nature of the events are actually up to us, but they will happen, in one form or another, because of the build-up of karma, both good and bad. For now, a disclaimer. All types of poetic predictive works are as a whole ambiguous, especially when translating from Sanskrit language. Also, often Vedic literature presents the point of view of the celestial beings, the demigods. Nevertheless, the general message I'm trying to make here is to encourage everyone in their spiritual lives. The images I use represent my personal views of the meanings. It's of course open to other interpretations, and I'm fine with that. So let's go on. Some prophecies that have already happened in ancient history. First of all, I need some context. The epic Mahabharata explains that before 5,000 years ago, the empire of Bharat was easily the most powerful in the world. It was based on Vedic culture, and its capital was Hastinapur in today's northern India. All kings paid homage to the emperor there. However, after the huge Kurukshetra war, and when Lord Krishna left the world, gradually Vedic culture as a whole began to deteriorate. The age of Kali had begun. As predicted, in the land of Bharat there was climate change, earthquakes leading to floods, droughts, and rivers drying up, and famine. It caused mass emigration from Bharat. Simultaneously, the Brahmin culture declined. People became known as Brahmin just by wearing a thread instead of personal qualification. Vedic Dharma in other lands took on fragmentic and compromised forms. And as predicted, the following traits increased all around the world. Cleanliness, austerity, mercy, and even truth all declined. People became greedy and selfish and nasty, including the leaders. There was war, chaos, and competition for land everywhere. The difference between the very richest and the very poorest became wider and wider, and the leaders didn't take responsibility for it. They didn't even care for their citizens. However, meanwhile, the Bhagavad Puranas predict a number of holy teachers who preached and predicted to uplift society according to time, place, and circumstance. The first chapter of the 12th canto of the Bhagavad Purana also predicts the complete downfall of Vedic civilization. That coincides with foreign invasions starting from around the 12th century. Present times and forthcoming events. For the purpose of this particular subject, I'm now skipping to the second half of the 20th century. I'm quoting from the Bhavishya Purana here mainly. Upon Bharat's independence or self-rule, Swadesh, it witnessed many turns until it became an integral entity under the banner of Prajapalyana, democracy. But by then the people of Bharat will be divided by sects, religions, and languages everywhere. Yet since then it has appeared as a strong democracy with a cultural identity of its own. Despite improved material conditions for some in the world from the mid-20th century onwards, wars continue and the age of Kali proceeds. In the Vedic view, mass meat consumption is linked directly to the increase of war. As predicted in the Puranas, people will eat out more than at home with their family. There'll be great differences in the very richest who will kind of exploit the poorest. Great divisions across society. Just to get justice, one will have to do business under the table, therefore greater justice for the richer people. People will worship money and those who have it and ignore the teachings of the sadhus. People will be angry very quickly. Ego will rule the day, and of course, vanity. People will honour only those unworthy of it from a spiritual point of view. People's beauty will be judged by their hairstyle alone, and the goal of life will be seen to eat. Older people will be disrespected, ignored, and lonely. Relationships and marriage will just be for lust only. Atheism will increase. There will be much more hypocrisy amongst the leaders. People will be seen as being intelligent if they can just juggle words around. Just to maintain a family, one will be considered expert. Children will become more and more unruly, youth unsatisfied. Life will become more and more stressful. Indeed, very, very stressful in the bigger cities, and be more and more entangled within them. Pollution of all kinds and disasters around the world will increase. Diseases, impersonalism, depression, perversion of all kinds, intoxication. Women will become more like men, less chaste, and illusion. But now, an example of counter forces to the age of Kali. I need to quickly go back nearly 550 years. The Padma Purana reads, "In the first Sandra of the Kali Yuga, I will appear on the earth in a beautiful place by the Ganga's shore. I will be the son of Sachi-Devi, and my complexion will be golden." The Bhagavad Purana. In the age of Kali, Krishna appears in a golden form, chanting the symbols Krishna. He descends along with his weapons, limbs and associates. Those with intelligence worship him with Sankirtan Yagya. Garuda Purana. First he will be the husband of Lakshmi, then he will be a sannyasi who stays near Lord Jagannath at Puri. Bhavishya Purana. In Kali Yuga everyone will see my form as a sannyasi with eyes filled with tears of bliss and bodily hairs erect in ecstasy. Incidentally, meanwhile, Europe experienced a renaissance. Now we go forward to a specific period in the 20th century. Despite growing material facility and a declining of conservative cultures, it was also a time when many sincere youth of the West first started to look towards India as a place of spirituality and wisdom. The Bhavishya Purana reads, "One saffron-clad man will travel and teach the Vedas in the language of the Mlechas, foreign meat-eaters, and he will initiate with fire." The same Purana, Pratisagaparva chapter 20, reads, "The uncontrolled progeny of Kashyapa Muni had become Mlechas situated in different countries all around the world. Although being of a non-dharmic background, some will attain their Brahminical status. Accepting the tuft of hair and sacred thread, they'll be well versed in the uncontaminated fruit of the Vedas. They'll worship Krishna by the yagya prescribed by the Lord of the demigods, the protector of Mother Sachi." And so next section. A gradual spiritual revival in modern times. In society, many people will seek change, new ideas, new concepts will take place. Like new shoots poking up through the decay, an ethical green movement will rise, and also a tendency to rediscover ancient wisdom and a search for peace and a different way of looking at the world. But there'll be a polarization also of humankind between the spiritual and the dark forces. But the golden age will phase in, and an end to sectarian attitudes. The Brahma Vaivata Purana reads, "Krishna said to Mother Ganga, 'On the earth 5,000 years of Kali will be sinful, and people will deposit their sins in you by bathing. After that, the chanting of my holy names will appear. For 10,000 years of Kali, such devotees of mine will be across the whole planet. The holy names are like an umbrella sheltering chanters from Kali's influence.'" This period will gradually phase in and eventually become mainstream. But what could happen during the crossover points between these aforementioned two forces? The Bhavishya Purana predicts the future events. The Daityas, demons, who stage managed the victory of the Mlechas over Dharmic Shakti's forces for good, then constructed Jalayanas, sea vessels, to Harikand, yellowish people north of the Himalayas, where men were very strong like devas initially, but in the course of a few years of Mahayuddha, cunning and deceitful battles, the Harikand people appealed to Mahendra, their powerful leader, for protection. At Indra's request, Vishvakarma created a Parami Yantra, a sophisticated kind of machine, by using which persons of one Khand region could not freely travel to another. This sounds more like more than basic passport border control. Now when think about it, with enough cooperation, it is already theoretically possible to have a microchip population as a means of creating borders. For example, to determine where one can buy or sell, which doors you can pass, which transport you can use, where you can drive, and where you are at any time. The Bhavishya Purana continues, there also be a kind of Vatsya, a less potent or small use, of a Mahavayu, a great wind weapon. This Vatsya Mahavayu will be destroyed the Daityas, Yakshas and Pishchakas, different types of demons and demoniac mentality, but it will protect somehow the Dharmic Brahmanas and other upright persons for a period of time. Perhaps this is the same period as the spiritual revival as the aforementioned Golden Age. Now the Golden Age prevails. It will become like the Treta Yuga afterwards, gradually, having a high level of spiritual material happiness for most of the population. Some holy people have said there will be a huge increase in spiritual eco-farms, and the future is likely to have garden city-states of unlimited clean energy and evolved technologies working together. Technology will later be superseded by mystic cities and perfections, and demigods will take birth on the earth in the human form. Earth will become like a springboard directly from this universe to the high level in the spiritual world, the highest level, Goloka Vrindavan. This period will last about 10,000 years or so. That sounds like a long time, but when compared to the Vedic 4.32 million year single Yuga cycle, it's just a thin strip, a time window of opportunity. After the Golden Age, there's still another 417,000 years of the Kali Yuga to go. A thin strip, indeed, and we're just at the beginning of it. When Kali Yuga really sets in, according to the Bhavishya Purana, after that period of spiritual revival, Bhoga Simha, intense lion-like pleasure, and Keli Simha, sports and amusements, will become rampant amongst the leaders. They will stay in a Krida Vatanaga, city of material enjoyment, and will carry out the wishes of the Kali Yuga Devi, especially the task of destroying Varna and Ashram. The effects of Kali Yuga will then continue without resistance, and the Golden Age will finish. Humans will develop a barbaric, sinful mentality, and civilization will gradually collapse over a very, very long time. There will be an increase in wars, hunger, drought, and disease. By halfway through Kali Yuga, that's about 213,000 years from now, cultural values will be completely obliterated. Trees will shrink, as will animals. Fruits, flowers, and foods will lessen. The land will gradually lose its fertility. Populations will become like scavengers. Over many thousands of years, circumstances will gradually get worse and worse as the Kali Yuga proceeds. By the third quarter of the Kali Yuga, Kalakalpa, horrid crossbreeded beings will come who will be like cannibals. They will live in hellish places, the worst kinds of frightening places of retribution, and be grossly overpopulated. The sky will go dark and the thunder and lightning will be common. By the end of Kali Yuga, the world will be overrun with the worst kind of people, and demoniac species would have migrated there. However, the Kalki Purana says that the Lord will then appear on the earth astride a white horse. He and his armies will ride out to confront the enemy there. After his mission is complete, Kalki will crown descendants of Lord Ram as kings of the earth. And from that moment, the Satya Yuga will begin, the beginning of a new Yuga cycle. The demigods will again descend upon and settle on the earth, and they will also come to replenish it, prepare it for the Satya Yuga. A true long-term golden age will then follow. But there's still a long way to go there. Conclusion. Despite the obvious and major challenges that this fallen age of Kali brings, it's not all bad. The Bhagavad Purana 11.5.36 reads, "Those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened persons worship Kali Yuga because, in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtan, chanting the holy names. The best way to become free from the negative effects of this Kali Yuga and to participate in the Golden Age is to chant the holy names in the form of the Maha Mantra. There are many mantras, but the most effective for this age of Kali is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare." Thank you. Please chant and be happy.